So what I have in front of me are the latest and greatest gaming laptops from Asus and its ROG line. So this is the ROG Strix Scar 18 and the ROG Strix G18. It's got the same exact processor, the same exact graphics card, and technically the same RAM and the same storage, but I did upgrade the Strix Scar 18 a week ago after I did all my testing to 64 gigs of RAM and also added another 1 terabyte of storage. And we'll go over what makes these new laptops from Asus so good when it comes to upgrades. Now, I think the most asked question that people are going to be asking is whether you should spend an extra $350 for this stealthy black Scar 18, or should you just go with the G18 and save yourself some doll hairs. So these two laptops, just like I mentioned earlier, are pretty much identical. My unit is equipped with the Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX processor, which has 24 cores and 24 threads, which is just insane. It also comes with 32 gigs of RAM out of the box, which is user upgradable up to 64 gigs at 5600 megatransfers per second. It also comes with 2 terabytes of SSD out of the box. And of course, you're getting the RTX 5080, which has 16 gigs of VRAM and a TGP of 175 watts. Now, where things start to differ, and it's definitely going to be the most notable one, and it's the display. The display on the regular Strix G18 is pretty sweet. It's an IPS panel with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. It is part of ROG's Nebula display, which means the display is color accurate, which covers 100% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, and the screen can get up to 500 nits of brightness, which is plenty bright for a gaming laptop. It's a 240 Hz refresh rate with a 3 millisecond response time, so it's pretty awesome for gaming. Now, the Strix Scar 18, on the other hand, we're getting a mini LED panel on here, which has the ROG Nebula HDR standard, and that gives you 1200 nits of peak brightness while maintaining that 100% color accurate colors, just like the G18. Now, this also comes with a 240 Hz panel, the same 3 millisecond response time, and the same resolution at 1600p. Okay, so let's talk about what I love about these laptops first. And the first would have to be the display. Now, one of the best things about these two laptops is its display and its size. It's an 18-inch laptop, which means it's pretty much a desktop replacement. It's a type of laptop that you'll most likely use without an external monitor, but you can if you want. And while it is still a laptop, it means it can be portable in a way, but I probably wouldn't recommend traveling with this on long-haul flights just because it weighs like a brick. It's about 7.5 pounds for just the laptop, and with the 380 watt charger, it's closer to 9.5 pounds, closer to 10 pounds. On the positive side of things though, the Strix Scar 18 with that mini LED display is really beautiful to look at. It's awesome to watch videos or shows here on Netflix, it's great for gaming, and it's stupidly bright with or without HDR. The G18 with that 500 nits of brightness gets plenty bright too, and colors look pretty good, but when you put these two laptops side by side, the difference in contrast is really noticeable, and the brightness is obviously even more noticeable. But is it worth that extra $300? I personally think it's worth it, but do note that the extra $300 also gets you the Animatrix screen on the top lid and the RGB logo, and you're also getting that stealth black paint job. I personally think the $350 upcharge for a better and brighter display is worth it, but you know, that's your money and you may not think so. Now, also new this year for both laptops is a better anti-reflective coating. I got to see this in action at Computex at Asus's HQ, and they were able to show me the difference in person and how much better it is on these new laptops. Not only for glare, but the contrast looks way better on these new 2025 laptops. Now, pro number 2 would probably have to be the build quality and its design. Now, I have no experience with last year's G18 or Scar 18, but these two laptops are more streamlined looking, meaning they're very sleek, very modern, but can still show off some of that gamery aesthetics that ROG is known for. Now, we've got a full wraparound RGB strip that's customizable with Armory Crate, and on the Strix Scar 18, there's that Animatrix screen, which is very cool to look at. But let's be honest, you're not really going to notice this on a daily basis unless you have a mirror behind your laptop, or if you decide to bring this, this thick boy to a coffee shop. But are you really going to do that? Now, the other thing that I really like is the keyboard. I love how the keyboard feels when typing on both of these laptops. The G18 and Scar 18 have full-size keyboards with the numpad on the right side of the device, and you're also getting a very large trackpad, which is off-centered. But the thing that you should take note of, the regular G18's keyboard has a slightly more gamery design with the translucent design on the WASD and the QERF keys and the spacebar, which are pretty much the go-to keybinds for most PC games, especially shooter-type games. The Scar 18 looks like any old laptop keyboard without the translucent keys. It's definitely more stealthy, but I do like how the G18's keyboard looks more. But yeah, in terms of how it feels and how it types, both are incredible. Now, in terms of build quality, both laptops feel extremely premium. The hinge is almost perfect, where you can open the laptop with just one finger, and there's barely any wobble or flex to them. The keyboard area does have some flex to it, which you can see here, but in terms of day-to-day use, you won't really feel that. The bottom of the laptop does feature their new Q-latch system, which gets you access to the internals without using any tools. And this is probably the second best thing about these laptops: upgradability. Now, I was able to swap out the RAM and the SSD without the need to use a single screwdriver, which is awesome. But yeah, overall though, this laptop is as premium as it gets, and while it's not the thinnest gaming laptop out there, it's thankfully not the heaviest 18-inch laptop in the market. I think Alienware still has this beat by a couple of pounds, which is just insane to me. All right, now next on the pro list, and you can agree or disagree with me on here, but I personally think the amount of ports that this laptop has is now on par with Lenovo and MSI. There's 3 USB 8 ports, 2 USB-C ports, and both are Thunderbolt 5, by the way. And of course, you can't forget about HDMI 2.1 port and the Ethernet port. Now, port placement is going to play a big factor for any gaming laptop, and while I wish there are more USB-A ports on the left side of the device, for things like peripherals, I kind of wish Asus added a full-size SD card reader or another USB-C port on the right side of the laptop, just because the right side is looking pretty lonely with just those 2 USB-A ports. Now, I know that there are a ton of you guys who love having the ports on the back of the device, and while it does lead to a cleaner design, that's where all the hot air gets blown out of this laptop. And I think having that exhaust vent on the back is way better than having hot air blow from the left or right side of the laptop like any other gaming laptop from a couple of years ago. Now, over the past month and a half that I've been using both of these laptops as my gaming laptop for when I'm traveling, one thing I'm really wowed by is its performance. Now, yes, I get it. It's using one of the newest Intel chips and one of the fastest laptop GPUs, but I think this laptop also has really good thermals thanks to the updated vapor chamber inside this laptop and how they're able to let, all the air come in through the keyboard, the bottom, and the sides of the laptop and have all the hot air blow out of the back. But just to give you guys some numbers on this laptop, in Geekbench with turbo mode enabled, both of these laptops got a multi-core score of less than 20,000 and a single core score of 3,004. As a reference, here's what I got from other laptops that I have in the studio currently, and as you guys can see, this laptop is pretty beefy when it comes to performance. And then when it comes to GPU scores, I was able to get over 200,000 in OpenCL, which is really impressive. In Cinebench, we're getting just over 2,000 points for its multi-core score and 130 points for its single core, which is actually really impressive. And then when it comes to real-world gaming, this laptop is the best that I've tried so far. I do have more laptops coming in the studio for testing, but the RTX 5080 on this laptop feels like it's running way better than the Legion Pro 7i Gen 10 that I was using previously. Now, even though both are 5080 cards, I wasn't crashing as much on Warzone or other games, and things just ran smoother and cooler. Now, I don't know, maybe it's just the bigger chassis and the thicker profile of these laptops, but yeah, this performed really well in all of the games that I typically play. Now, the big thing about the 50 series of cards is, of course, using DLSS and frame gen. And as someone who prefers to have more frames versus, having the best looking game, I use DLSS in almost every single game that I play just because I don't really see a huge degradation in quality, especially on a laptop this way. But I do notice a difference in high refresh rate because I play a ton of FPS games. Now, with both of these laptops, I can still stay well above 120 frames per second in all of the games that I play with high to ultra settings at 1600p with DLSS set to quality or balance. And if there's frame gen, I can definitely take advantage of that sweet 240 Hz refresh rate at 2x or 4x. But besides that, I haven't really had any hiccups when gaming on both of these laptops. I will say that, when you're in turbo mode, It can get quite loud, but if you switch the laptop's performance profile to performance instead of turbo, you'll definitely see that you're not really losing too much frames, and you'll also have a quieter laptop when gaming. Now, I would also suggest getting a laptop riser or laptop cooler just to let extra airflow in, but good luck finding a riser that can actually hold up this beefy laptop, and I'll leave the one that I'm using in the description below. And now let's talk about what I didn't find all that great or would like to see next time around. All right, so this laptop is clearly really powerful that can rip through, AAA titles, no problem. But one major gripe that I have with this, especially as someone who plays mouse and keyboard, is the palm rest area. Now, the palm rest area will dig onto your skin because of how it's designed. It might be fine for typing for, 10, 15 minutes straight, but then when you're gaming for 30 plus minutes, maybe even, a couple of hours, you're gonna feel that edge dig onto your skin because of, the shape of the laptop doesn't contour downwards, or it doesn't have a soft enough edge. So after one gaming session, you're gonna wanna use an external keyboard and prop up this laptop up. Now, not everyone's probably gonna experience that, but as someone who's been using both of these laptops for a month and a half, this is definitely something to take note of. Now for my second con, and this is more for the Strix Scar version, I didn't really notice this when using the G18 at max brightness, but when the Strix Scar 18 is past 60% brightness and you're playing for maybe over an hour and you touch the laptop's lid where the Animatrix and ROG logos are, you're gonna feel something very, very warm. And I wish I had a thermal camera to show you guys, but man, I thought it was just hot air blowing onto the lid from the wall, but I did some testing and anything above 60% brightness on the Scar 18 gets extremely warm to the touch after, 30 minutes of gaming. Like, I wouldn't want to put my laptop in a bag after gaming because I feel like it burns something in my bag. Now, if you do end up getting this laptop, let me know if this also happens to you, because on the G18, this is not an issue at all. And so to wrap it all up for you guys, the ROG Strix Scar 18 and the G18 are both incredible laptops that can rip through demanding games no problem. It might be a heavy laptop, but for an 18-inch laptop, you shouldn't really expect a thin and light laptop with this kind of power. And with the price difference of about $300 to $350 between the two, I think it's time to really answer the question that I asked in the beginning. Should you save that $350 or get that mini LED hotness and the stealth black paint? Or do you, save that $350 and upgrade the RAM and SSD instead? Personally, I've been enjoying the mini LED display on the Scar 18 more than the G18 just because it makes videos and games that I'm playing look more alive and more colorful. Plus that 1200 nits of brightness is so nice to have. And playing in HDR gives me that proper balance of shadows and highlights in a game where it sometimes can give me an advantage in games like, Warzone. Now, like I said earlier, I will be checking out more 5080 and 5090 laptops in the coming months, so stay tuned to the channel to see more videos like this. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one.